Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On this video we're going to talk about 5 things that we don't like about our homestead property.
Oh, Mr. McClung, are you complaining?
Not really complaining. Those of you familiar with our channel, we've talked in the past about our story of how we got our land, our 100 acres here in southern West Virginia, pretty inexpensively. And with the sale of our timber, we net a pretty good per acre price. There's a video we did about it, we'll link to it here. But a lot of you guys comment, oh, Troy Kelly, you found the dream property. Ah, it's this, it's that. You're so lucky. Nobody ever could be that lucky again. And while yes, I feel we were blessed with what we were able to get, it's not a perfect piece of property. So I wanted to address that because everything on social media seems to be sunshine and unicorns. Nobody really talks about it. You've seen unicorns on social media, haven't you?
Just a few.
Yeah, there's one that poops all the time, I see. So it's not necessarily a perfect situation, and we want to address 5 things that, since we've been here, that we've run into that are some issues. Now, they're not insurmountable. We can overcome them, but they're issues nonetheless. Well, issue number 1, and you're going to kind of say, well, duh, Troy, you bought the land, you saw it when you got it, is the lack of flat land.
We do have a lack of that.
Thanks for expounding on that. Now, obviously, as you can see, again, if you've watched the channel, you know that while we've got 100 acres, it's not very flat. In fact, I joke with people, I only have one place where I can turn around the truck with a 16-foot trailer on it. I have 100 acres and not be able to turn around.
But we're up for the challenge.
I'll try to turn it around in all kinds of places. So it obviously doesn't lend, as we've gotten more into homesteading over the past 18 years, more into small farming, whatever you want to call it, we've discovered that, hey, more flat land would actually be more beneficial.
Really nice.
It would make things easier. It's the reason why Kelly looks as tall as she does right now, because I'm standing downhill. You see, the house is right over there, down the hill. So here we either going up the hill or down the hill. Our pigs have 2 legs longer than the other because they always stand on hillsides. You're not buying that, are you? So that's one of those things. Now, flat land, I can't really fix that. Now, I can get a dozer in here and create a little bit more. In fact, you see this little stripe right behind us. I cleared that off a couple years ago just because I wanted to have a nice flat piece of land right here behind the house in case we wanted to build a small building, a picnic shelter or something like that. Then I've already got that flat land in place. So we can make some, but obviously a lot of expense associated with that.
So issue number 2 is lack of internet service. We don't have DSL, we don't have cable, and there's no cellular service out here. So our only option is satellite, as you can see here. And our experience with satellite is it's not very fast. We have interruptions all the time, and we're limited on our bandwidth. So it's not the best option out there. So some reasons that is an issue for us is 1, for our YouTube channel, 2, research that we want to do, 3, homeschooling, and many other things that we like to use the internet for. So really the only fix for that issue is hopefully with technology, it will improve with time.
So issue number 3 we've run into is soil quality. Again, when we bought this place 18 years ago, I wasn't so excited or so bent on planting and livestock and being able to support all that stuff. It really wasn't a big deal to me. So I really didn't give this any thought. Now this is West Virginia. It's all red clay in the area of West Virginia we're in. But you can see where we're standing here, there's broom sage everywhere, which is a telltale sign of you've got really bad soil quality. We have a very high pH level in our soil. So it's tough to grow blueberries. It's tough to grow those other low pH loving plants. And being red clay, you can see standing right here in front of us is standing water. We're up on the side of the mountain. If I'd take my tractor and dig a small hole right here, that would remain a pond or a little a little puddle forever. Only in the middle of the summer would that dry out. It just really doesn't soak much into the ground. So it does hold a lot of water. Now that has benefits to it, of course, but when it comes time to planting or supporting livestock, I couldn't just clear off ground and expect to seed pasture grass and it come in real thick and fluffy. I'd have to do a lot of amending if I was going to try to support heavier livestock. So obviously what we do in that situation is we're just working as fast as we can as to what makes sense, what's practical to amend the soil in these areas. That's why we have our chickens rotating through areas, our pigs rotating through areas, so hopefully they can amend that soil and add a little more organic to it. And hopefully we'll get into that more as we potentially get ruminants on the property. Well, the fourth issue we have on our homesteads, it's pretty unique to us in this area, is we have an endless supply of gas line on our property. So you can see here, there's a piece of 3-inch, maybe 2-inch gas line that runs all the way down to the bottom of the valley. And here's the other portion that I ended up cutting with a dozer, and the rest of it goes all the way to the top of the mountain. There's actually an old well site on top of the mountain. So our farm is a watershed, so there's a ridge on either side with the creek going through the middle, and there were all these old gas wells, probably 1920s, 1930s, when they were in their boom. And all those metal gas lines run down to a central line and run off the property. Now they're all dormant. These wells obviously aren't producing anything. That's why I can safely cut this with a dozer, not blowing myself up. But when they left and pulled all their wells, they left the pipeline here. So again, not a huge issue until you go to do like we did here and cut a road and you realize, oh, there's a pipeline there. And even though they've been dormant, you still kind of pucker a little bit when you start to cut a gas line. You think, is there a chance there's a little bit of gas in there and I'm about ready to blow myself up? But it's all over the place. And that's one of the downsides to property in southern West Virginia. It's a huge natural resource area. So, coal mines, gas wells, oil wells, there's a lot of natural resources that have been extracted in West Virginia. And that's some of the downfalls you have. The pipeline, for coal mines, my goodness, if you had a coal mine, unfortunately we don't have one around here, but if we had a coal mine underneath us, there'll be kinds of water table issues. There could be groundwater leaching issues, and obviously just the overall risk of mine collapse or sinkholes or anything like that. So as far as mitigating this, what can we do with it? Well, a lot of you guys have seen that and said, hey, great suggestion, Troy, would be to start cutting that up and sell it. People love it, recycle it, do all those type of things. Well, it's so far back on the valley, granted I'd need to bring my generator or a gas cutoff saw or something to start cutting that up. And it's just obviously a lot of work that needs to be taken care of. There is some value to it. We've shown how we've used some of it in the past, but there'd be a lot of effort going into trying to get all this cut up and cleaned up.
So issue number 5 is not a lot of cleared land on our property, which is an issue now because we are interested in bringing in cattle or other ruminants, and we don't quite have the pasture for it.
Yeah. Again, 18 years ago when we bought this, I love the fact that it was all Appalachian hardwood forest. It was secluded. I love being in the woods, and there is a lot of benefit for that. Obviously, the timber value we got from it. But now it's like, well, I'd like to have more cleared land to be able to support some of this other livestock, and we just don't have it. Now, granted, I could bring in some heavy equipment and start pushing things around and uprooting stuff and just being very, very destructive. But in my experience, that just kind of moves headaches around. If I start dozing stuff over, then I've got large piles I need to deal with, whether that's burn them, do whatever, bury them, then it's always going to be an issue with all these stumps. So what we're doing is we've just kind of resolved the fact that we're going to do it by hand, and what we get cleared, we get cleared. What we don't, we don't. And that's kind of what you see here. This is a spot you may have recognized in one of our other videos where we dropped a poplar tree here recently to put on the mill. And I would like this area to be thinned out more. And I don't want to clear cut it. I don't want everything off of it. I want to leave the nut producing trees, but I want to open up enough canopy that we can get some grasses growing, that if we had cattle in here or goats, then they would have a little bit more variety. Now I know goats would appreciate some of this thicket, but primarily for cattle, we'd like to have enough open canopy that we can get some pasture grasses growing and get cattle on here. So that'll be the plan. We'll just simply, as time allows and as our ability allows safely, to reduce some of the trees in certain areas, and there'll be certain areas on the property that we've completely forested and leave alone. And we also mentioned that our pigs are kind of our pioneers. They help clear land, and they're working from where we're standing. Again, you guys don't know, without showing you a map, you don't know where we are. The house is way back that way, And the pigs are over here where the sunlight is behind us. They're in that area, so they're kind of working clearing that. So as we get more fence built, then I could move them up here and they'd start to clear out some of this smaller underbrush. But I would obviously still need to take out some of the big things. So the pigs will help us do that as well.
So once again, these were our 5 issues. We didn't want people to think that we've got the perfect homestead. Nobody does. You're going to have issues with any land that you decide to buy.
Yeah, and again, not complaints, but things that if I could change, I would change, and we're working to change to some degree. So if you're looking for homestead land, or you've already got your homestead land, don't get discouraged if you think, wow, I wish I had this. Troy's got all this hardwood. I wish I had that. You probably got more flat land, or you probably have some other things that we don't have. So recognize the benefits and the pros of your property, and isolate the cons and try to fix them if you can, but don't stress out about them.
That's right.
Again, it's a piece of land. You can work it the best that you can and
enjoy it. So once again, check us out on Facebook and on Instagram at Red Tool House Farm.
And if you haven't, subscribe to our email newsletter. You can see that at redtoolhouse.com. There'll be a big button that says email newsletter, and you can join up and keep up with what's going on the farm. Somebody needs to do one of those here recently, don't they?
Be good.
Yeah, I probably should do that. All right, take care, everybody.